to another VoiceCon video. My name is Eric Krapf. I'm the program co-chairman for VoiceCon and also the editor of NoJitter.com. I'm here again with my program co-chairman, Fred Knight, who's also publisher of NoJitter.com and general manager for VoiceCon. We're coming up to VoiceCon San Francisco, which runs November 10th through the 13th at the Moscone Center North in San Francisco. And of course, a lot's been going on in the world and in our industry. And we're definitely going to see that reflected on the program and the show floor.
Well, that's right. I mean, we have designed the program around two fundamental realities. The first is the incredible change that is rippling through the entire enterprise communications industry. IP telephony is itself, depending on how you want to count it, 7 or 8 years old. But it's already into what I think some would call its third or perhaps even fourth generation. PBXs have, of course, been the dominant way to deploy IP telephony, but now with Microsoft and OCS and IBM and same time, and the carriers becoming more aggressive as well, there are real options out there for how to migrate the enterprise communications platform. So the first focus is, of course, on dealing with that change and the ripple effects of that change throughout the whole industry. The second fundamental reality is financial. It's been obvious for the better part of a year that there would be a belt tightening and a focus on the bottom line. So we have done our very best to make the program for VoiceCon San Francisco 08 focused on the realities, both in terms of applications and what can be done, but also the financial realities that are at work in the marketplace today. I'm also happy to announce that Charlie Giancarlo, who is the CEO of Avaya, is now going to be presenting the opening keynote at VoiceCon San Francisco. Charlie is one of the most thoughtful both business and technology leaders in our industry. He has ridden the ups and downs of the tech economy and the economy at large for several decades throughout in his career, and I think that his insight about getting through this time and also the role of enterprise communications and the role that it can play in helping your enterprise deal with these challenges will be both thoughtful and thought-provoking.
And Avaya, of course, is at a real crossroads itself. They're facing two much larger competitors in the space, in Cisco and Microsoft. They're defending a large installed base, still have a great set of products, but there's a lot of questions that people will want to ask him about the direction of Avaya.
It's a great point. I don't know that there's any company that's in this industry that isn't faced with a real difficult challenge. Cisco has done a tremendous job in the past decade of coming into the communication space and really changing the dynamic of the industry, and it's reflected in market share. It's been the leader for better part of 2 years now. That said, it can't rest on its laurels because in the same way that Avaya is facing Microsoft, so is Cisco. And we've seen some recent acquisitions by Cisco in the IM and presence space, and of course the leveraging of the WebEx acquisition that it made a couple of years ago to really be a full service, both network and desktop set of offerings. When it goes onto the desktop, it's not the incumbent, it's the challenger. And Microsoft and both Microsoft and IBM are not going to relinquish their market shares easily. So there is a dynamic at work in the enterprise communications market that sets the backdrop for VoiceCon San Francisco, and about which we've tried to develop as much programming as we can, and of course we'll adapt on the fly as events warrant.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we'll be hearing about, no doubt, in San Francisco is Microsoft's plan for Release 2 of Office Communications Server, OCS. And we'll also have a Microsoft executive on the keynote stage to talk about, beyond just the kind of the product and the positioning issues, how you really take your enterprise through this transition to more of a software model.
Well, that's right. I mean, VoiceCon has always been based around two fundamental objectives: to help attendees select and build the enterprise communications platform that's right for their enterprise, and secondly, how to leverage that platform for maximum advantage. Against the backdrop of all the changes we've been discussing, those two objectives are still valid. But the way in which they're discussed and the options that are available for both objectives are really profoundly different than they were 3-4 years ago, and even very different than they were a year ago. And that's why we also are delighted to announce that Kaiser Permanente will give a keynote as well, describing how it is migrating to IP telephony and unified communications and what it means for them. We will have a user forum with several executives, again, talking in a roundtable format, both about what they're doing, but also how they see the new environment. And there's going to be a tremendous opportunity for those who attend to both get brand new information and the perspective of the experts, whether they're from the vendors or the consultant community, but also to exchange a great deal of information among one another.
Yeah, and those kind of user sessions have kind of become a hallmark of VoiceCon and have been traditionally the best received sessions, and I think they're going to be really important this year because just over the last few months, few weeks even, as you've heard Cisco talk about WebEx and about software as a service, as you hear Microsoft talk about OCS, it's almost like the sort of core PBX equipment is sort of being forgotten about and is certainly no longer the center of discussion. But yet you have to think, for at least the immediate future, when a customer goes to write an RFP or goes to figure out how am I going to keep the business running at the level that it's at, they're going to be needing to deliver those fundamental voice services, as well as kind of figuring out how to build on that.
We have two tools, essentially. We have the educational program that we've been discussing, the keynotes, the tutorials, the conference sessions, and we have the VoiceCon exhibition floor. All of the companies that we've been talking about, and many, many more, upwards of 90-some companies, will be having their products, their services, hardware, software on display on the VoiceCon exhibit floor. And it will present a terrific opportunity for the attendees and visitors to VoiceCon to compare what they're hearing in the educational sessions and in the keynotes and in the VoiceCon summits, etc., to what they're actually seeing on the show floor, where they're going to get a chance to meet the developers of many of these products and services, get a chance to kick the tires both on things that are currently available for sale, and if VoiceCon San Francisco is anything like previous VoiceCons, get a pretty good clue of new products, new technologies, new services that are going to be coming in the next 6 to 12 months.
It's an environment that both from the technology as well as from the economic side is not very clear right now. So we've got the kind of people who speak, who bring a real objective viewpoint to VoiceCon. Many of whom are also bloggers at No Jitter. Are people who really are third-party independent experts who really don't owe their allegiance to any particular vendor and can give you kind of some straight information.
Well, that's right. There is a lot of uncertainty, but there's one thing that I'm certain about, and that is if enterprise communication is important to your business or to your career, VoiceCon San Francisco is an event you can't afford to miss. November 10th to the 13th at Moscone North. Eric and I hope to see you there.